Halloween came early for Google's shareholders yesterday. The company came out with earnings far too early, and also, even worse, shocked its investors with a awful set of numbers. Rob, you looked at this. Now, when I say awful, they didn't lose money overall, but they've missed expectations by a long way. What happened?
The earnings actually shrank, which for a company like Google is shocking.
They shrank, but revenue grew, which is even worse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the main problem is, well, they've got two problems. The main problem is their Motorola. They're doing a dalliance into mobile phones.
They bought that, what, earlier this year?
They bought it last year.
Last year.
This is the first set of results where it's consolidated.
Right.
But what that is, they lost about $500 million on that operation,
right.
just because, you know, who buys a Motorola handset? Everyone buys a Samsung.
Yeah.
And the other problem, of course, is everyone's switching to starting to use smartphones to do search, and advertisers aren't paying for that. And so that's why Google's ad business, which is their cash cow, is just not doing that well.
So, but they were getting more clicks from advertising, but the revenue was going down, so they've got this intractable problem.
Yeah, because everyone's starting to do more and more searches on their phones, and that could be a couple of different reasons. It's because people don't actually, they search for information, but they don't actually buy anything. You don't shop on Amazon on your mobile, you shop on your website.
So as a result of this, the stock was down, what, $20 billion?
Almost 8%, yeah, which is quite a bit.
I mean, how much of this do you think is Motorola, and how much of it is, do you think, you know, this kind of rate of growth in revenue? Because, I mean, Motorola just kind of stands out. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, of just, you know, was that really a good purchase for Google in the end?
It's probably two things combined. It's that it's a costly dalliance, and instead of, you know, Google, all their efforts should be on fixing the mobile thing, because it's a great opportunity. Not only is it, you know, they could actually lose this. You know, if someone like Facebook comes in and starts stealing their market share. And instead, you know, executives are spending their time worrying about, you know.
But Google executives are great, aren't they, at getting into all and sundry? But here, Motorola at least is something which seems to be vaguely core to their business, unlike going to the moon or whatever it was they were trying to do. So, but nonetheless, it's still a big distraction for them.
Yeah, it is, and they've got so much on their plate. They've got YouTube, they've got their whole Android ecosystem, they've got handsets. They're doing lots and lots of things, and the problem is, you know, a person can only do one thing at a time well. And, you know, at least I can.
Well, we men can only do one thing at once.
That's right, yeah.
But what about, they came out with their earnings 4 hours too early. There was some snafu. They were saying, waiting for Larry Page, quote. Yeah, and what was this all about? Why did these earnings suddenly arrive at midday?
That was an error by Ara Donnelly, the printer. Apparently they sent off to the SEC when they shouldn't have, and then Google had egg on its face because the top line of the press release said pending Larry quote, which you don't want to release.
And I also feel like when it was released, it kind of built up these expectations too, in a way, like, oh, what is this quote going to be? And it just ended up being a very dry earnings, you know.
He has not taken part in any conference calls recently claiming throat problems.
Yeah, his voice sounded pretty bad.
Okay, so it's still bad. Okay, so we still got that to worry about as well.
Yeah.
Halloween's coming up. Investors still a bit shaky after yesterday's fright. We'll keep an eye on that, and we'll have more breaking views for you next week.